Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about inequalities. It's our last section of our algebra studies. So when we're talking about inequalities, instead of the equal sign in an equation, we are going to have a less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or occasionally this sign, which is a not equal to. Okay, so when I see a inequality, it's going to most likely be an algebraic expression, and I'm going to solve it like a normal algebra problem. I'm going to just not even worry about the less than, greater than sign to begin with. So if I'm solving this first example, like a less than, or like a normal algebra problem, I want to get my x by itself, so I'm going to do the opposite of minus 7, which is plus 7 on each side. And then I get x and 10, and I just leave the less than sign that I have. So now my answer, instead of x is equal to 10, my answer now says x is less than 10. Okay, so when I'm doing inequalities, this is just one part of my answer. So my next part would be that I want to graph it on a number line. And when I do that, I know I got an answer of 10, so I know my dot is going to have to be on the 10. However, I'm going to look over here at my rules that I've put on the side. If I have a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to sign, I'm going to put a closed circle on my number. If I just have a less than or a greater than sign without the little line underneath, then I'm going to put an open circle on that number. So I only have a less than sign without the line underneath, which means or equal to. And that's saying that my answer has to be it has to be less than 10. It can't be 10, it has to be less than 10. So that's why I'm putting an open circle here. It means it cannot be that number, but it can be anything less than that. So if I'm saying it can be anything less than that, I'm going to draw an arrow in the direction of my numbers that are less than 10. So I'm going to be drawing an arrow to the left on my number line. And a good thing to do on your worksheets is to make sure that you are drawing your answer on your number line in a different color. So maybe it's like a blue pen or a green pen or even like a highlighter or a marker, because sometimes if you're using like a black pen or a pencil, I can't really see where your line is, and if you have a closed dot or an open dot. So try and use a different color when you're doing your graphing on the number line. Okay. I know this is it's more steps, but I think you can do it. Let's move on to another example. So my next example is x plus 12 is greater than or equal to 18. I'm going to solve it like I would a normal algebra equation. I'm going to take the opposite of plus 12, which is minus 12. 18 minus 12 is 6. I have x, and I keep my greater than or equal to sign. Okay, now according to my rules, because this is a greater than or equal than sign, or equal to sign, I am following the closed circle. So I'm going to make a closed circle at my number 6. There we go. And this is saying that it is greater than 6. So I need to draw an arrow to where the numbers are greater than 6. So I'm drawing my arrow to the right. And it doesn't matter how long you draw your arrow, just so long as it's pointing in the right direction. Okay, let's try our next problem. Solving it normally, I take the opposite of minus 3, which is plus 3. And remember, I'm changing my signs because I am going over my equal to, less than, greater than sign. Okay, so 4 plus 3 is 7, x, and I bring down my less than or equal to. So because I have a less than or equal to sign, I have that line underneath telling me that I need a closed circle. So I'm going to put a closed circle on my number line at 7, and I'm going to draw my arrow in the direction where my numbers are less than 7, because x is less than 7. And so I'm drawing my arrow to the left because that is where numbers are less than 7. Okay. Now I'm going to have you remember some multiplication and division. So I have 2 times x is greater than 10. The opposite of times x is dividing, so I'm going to divide by 2 on each side. And then I get x is greater than 5, because 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, this is just a greater than sign. It does not have the line underneath, meaning that it can be any number greater than 5, but it can't be 5. So I'm going to put an open circle on 5, and I want to draw my arrow to where my numbers are greater than 5. So I'd be drawing my arrow to the right. Okay, let's try this one. X divided by 3 is less than or equal to 27. Hold on, let me change up this one. I did the wrong thing. Sorry, let's make this number 3 instead. My bad. Okay, what is the opposite of dividing by 3? Well, that would be multiplying by 3 on both sides. It's going to multiply by 3 on both sides, and I get x is less than or equal to 9. Okay, I have a less than or equal to sign, meaning that my number can be less than 9, but it can also be 9. So I'm going to put a closed circle on my positive 9, and it can be 9 and any number less than it. So I'm going to draw an arrow to where my numbers are less than 9, and that is to the left. Okay, here's where we're doing 2-step equations. You've done more steps than this, so this is nothing to worry about even. Okay, we're doing the opposite of plus 4 first, which is minus 4. So remember, we're adding and subtracting first before we do multiplication and division. Do minus 4. 12 minus 4 is 8. And so now I have 2x is greater than or equal to 8. The opposite of 2 times x is dividing by 2 on each side. And I get x is greater than or equal to 4. Okay, it's a greater than or equal to sign. It has the line underneath, meaning that we need a closed circle on 4, because it can be 4, but it can also be any number greater than 4. So I'm going to draw an arrow in the direction where my numbers are greater than 4, so that is to the right. Okay, next example, I'm doing addition and subtraction first. So the opposite of minus 6 is plus 6. I'm changing the sign because I'm moving it over the less than sign. Okay, so 30 plus 6 is 36. And now I have 6x is less than 36. The opposite of 6 times x is dividing by 6 on each side. And then I get x is less than 6. Okay, it doesn't have the line underneath it, meaning that it is less than 6 and it cannot be 6. So I'm going to put an open circle at 6. And it has to be less than 6. So I'm going to draw my arrow to the left where my numbers are less than 6. Okay, I have 2 more problems that I want to work through you with, but there is a new rule that I have to show you. And that is that when you are multiplying or dividing by a negative number in an inequality, you have to switch your less than or greater than sign. And I will show you that when we get to that point. Okay, so first I want to start off like a normal algebra equation. The opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. Then I get negative 4x is greater than or equal to 12. The opposite of negative 4 times x is dividing by negative 4 on each side. Okay, and now I have x and I get a negative 3. Now, because I divided here by a negative number on each side, that means that I have to switch this greater than or equal to sign, and I'm going to switch it in the opposite direction. So it's now going to become a less than or equal to sign. So now my answer is x is less than or equal to negative 3. Because I'm saying it's less than or equal to, I have the line underneath. That means it's a closed circle at -3. And it has to be less than that or equal to it. And so I'm going to draw an arrow to the left where my numbers are less than -3. Okay, last example of the day. I'm going to start off with the opposite of +8, which is -8 on each side. Okay, and now I have x over -5 is less than or equal to 2. The opposite of x divided by -5 is timesing by -5 on each side. And so I have my x over here, and 2 times a -5 is -10. Now, because I multiplied by a negative number on each side, I have to switch this less than sign. So now I'm going to switch it to the opposite, and it's going to become a greater than sign. So my answer is now going to be x is greater than -10. I'm saying that it's just greater than it. It can't be -10. It has to be greater than -10, which means I'm going to put an open circle at -10, and I'm going to draw an arrow to where my numbers are more than -10. So they're greater than that. And so I'd be drawing my arrow to the right. Okay. I want you to get started on your worksheet for the day, and we will do some more review and another review worksheet tomorrow.